Hi, I'm William. I have been maintaining the SRS project for more than 12 years. It's a long lived, real world open source media server with real users, bugs, and complexity. Over the last several months, I started experimenting with AI, and what I discovered surprised me. With the help of AI IDE Augment, I found that AI can manage an open source project almost end to end, which includes issues, features, bug fix, testing, and even community support. But let me be more clear, this does not work automatically. AI still needs the right setup and guidelines and ignore rules, and also a repository that contains the correct document and code, which means we should exclude the irrelevant things such as the third-party libraries. AI is a power, but it also has limitations and side effects. It cannot do anything. To get good results, you still need to follow specific patterns and workflows. That is something I want to talk about. So the first thing is about what we achieved by using AI for the SS project. So once AI was properly integrated, and just within a few months, all the open issues of SRS dropped from about 200 to around 10, just 10. And the test coverage increased from about 50% to 88%. That's huge. And we built the most complete assisted contribution workflow, not only issues analysis, not only features, but also community communication and almost everything. So let me talk about the first early days. We use AI for the communication and documentation. Mm, in the early stage, we use AI to translate, for example, issues, the title and descriptions, in pull requests, in discussions and documentation. So everything was translated into English automatically. This removed the language barriers. Contributors and users from all over the world could talk to each other very easily without any extra work. So over time, English literally became the shared working language for this community and project. Another thing is about the test coverage and the test ability. So AI also has a big impact on testing. For example, the test coverage improved from 50% to 80%, and most of the unit tests are written by AI. I think more important is that AI helped improve the structure of the code. The code become more easier to mock. It is become um, modular or interface based. So and it follows the object-oriented principles. So this made it very possible to write meaningful unit tests, and it's not just some dummy test. It is very useful unit test. So another thing is about issue analysis, and we have about 1,600 issues in total, and about 200 open issues. So AI helped analyze these issues. So especially the crash report with code dumps or code stacks. And because AI could look at logs, stacks trees, and code and documentation, so it's quite easy for AI to find the root cause, especially for the bug reports with the detailed code stack. In many cases, AI also is able to write a unit test to produce the bug. So sometimes it is impossible to use a unit test to reproduce the issue. So it could also generate canary steps to reproduce the problem. And AI also able to start SRS media server and then run the benchmark tools or the black box tests to verify the changes and bug fix. So it becomes a circle, a closed circle to verify itself by AI. As a result, the open issue dropped to around 10 again, as I mentioned. So I think that is a huge milestone for this SRS project. So let me talk about the future development. So AI not only just help with maintenance, it also contribute to real feature development. I have a good example, that is the IPv6 support. So before, IPv6 was only partially support just for RTMP. So with the AI assistance, IPv6 now it is supported for all the protocols, including the WebRTC, SRT, RTSP, and GB, and even HTTP streaming HTTP API. AI also helped to deliver other features. So it is very useful for smaller or simple to complex or big feature. Now I want to talk about the AI as a knowledge base and support engineer. So before the AI agents, we also try some bots, AI bots, which only index in the documentation. I think it doesn't work very well because they didn't know about the code base and the recent changes. Right now, the AI agents, it has indexed all the codes and documentation, and even tests and the changelog. So therefore, it is able to give a full up-to-date understanding of this project. It has answered questions. It is able to answer questions like this. Does SS support this feature? How do I use this feature or use this tool? When was this feature was introduced? Etc. etc. So in practice, AI also acts like a maintenance assistant for the any of the maintainer, or a support engineer for the community, for all of the user from the community. Sorry. So let me talk about the contribution workflow. It also changed for both bug fix and new features. The workflow currently it will looks like this. So first of all, I will clarify the background and requirements with AI to make sure the AI understand correctly about a context. Second, I will let AI to write unit test first to reproduce the issue or bug fix or feature or whatever. And I will review these tests very carefully to make sure it is effectively represent the issue or feature. Third, I will let AI to implement the feature or fix the bug, and it will try to run the tests and all the uh, white box tests or black box tests. And this is a closed cycle that AI can verify itself. So once the feature or bug fix is done, I will review the code change and then let AI to prepare a pull request with a title and detailed description, which is very clearly and comprehensively describe what this bug fix or feature is. And next, I will let AI to update the documentation for any new features. And maybe eventually, I also let AI to write an announcement for the community about this feature or bug fix. Therefore, I think humans are still in the loop at every important step, but the overall process is much faster, much faster and more consistent and much easier to sustain. Uh, okay, I want to talk about why I choose Augment. So before using Augment, I also tried several other tools like GitHub Copilot, Cursor, and Cloud Code. So each of them has some strengths, but in practice, only Augment works well for such a large, long-lived open source project like SRS. GitHub Copilot and Cloud Code were useful for some small coding tasks or some smart tips, but they often rely on generic or outdated knowledge instead of the latest SRS code and documentation. And that sometimes lead to incorrect suggestion or hallucination. Cursors has a different problem because SS is not a greenfield project. It has been developed by human engineers for more than a decade. And it also includes some third-party libraries like OpenSSL, libsrt, and fmpeg, which has millions lines of code. So it make the SRS code base very small portion, and so it cannot give very helpful information. And Augment solve these problems by some special tools or workflows. So first, Augment allows me to explicitly define what is and what is not part of the SS code base and documents. Second, Augments also provide a very strong context index engine. So it will dynamically select the right context and information for different task and question. And additionally, like other AI tools, it follows a guideline very strict. For example, we only use C++ 19.8, the ASCII C++. And I think augments make it possible to maintain the open source project. But to be clear, maybe other tools also improved. I'm not sure, and I don't have enough time to keep update with all these AI tools. So let me talk about the limitation and risk of using Augment. Even though Augment works very well, it has some real limitations. So first, the context engine requires indexing the full code base. That is fine for open source project, but it is risky and unacceptable for private or commercial projects. You don't want to upload your code to a third-party platform. Second, the cost is still a concern. It depends on different models, and you cannot control the token that consumes. So if you have many different projects, the cost may be a problem. So third, hallucination still exists, especially deal with the issue reports, which contains misleading and incorrect information. As a result, I think verification and review are still definitely necessary. Finally, I think there's deeper risk and concern. It is human growth. So if developer relies too much on AI, they may stop improving code structure, follow design patterns, improve the architecture. Over time, the code may become easier for AI to understand, but it is almost impossible for a human being software engineer to maintain this project. I think that is quite dangerous in the long run. So finally, let me talk about what I plan to explore next. So I don't know what will happen, but I don't want to depend on a single AI product like Augment. So my goal is to find general patterns that works across tools, whatever it is for open source project and for commercial project. Therefore, I want to explore how to manage in context, the AI context, by improving the structure and the implementation and documentation, rather than relying on some built-in AI tools like Augment context engine. I think it is possible to maintain it manually. Moreover, I'm also interested in how to design a software or design this open source project, the structure, not only human being friendly but also AI friendly. But clear, it is never AI only. It is not only designed for AI but also for human being engineer. And humans must always be able to read and control the system. So I plan to revisit other AI tools when I improve the structure and I'm able to control the management, the AI context. And I think I might be wrong, and I fully accept that because future AI models may change everything. So right now, I'm doing some experience about how to um, work with AI assistants, how software engineer can work with AI. It is not replaced, but how to work with, and how to use AI, how to work with AI to maintain a sustainable open source community. Yeah, so I will continue to update documents and the podcast, and yeah, see you next time.